Hello, this is John here. I'm on the road this week, so I'm going to give you a fairly brief briefing, but I did want to provide an update of what's going on over the next week. Let's take a look at the last 7 days observed precipitation. The most significant rain occurred over parts of Texas. They've really recharged their water resources over parts of the central part of the state. Another couple inches of rain. I heard from a few folks saying that it's setting up good soil moisture for winter wheat in that area, and that extended into eastern parts of Oklahoma, parts of western Arkansas as well. Now, there was some more significant rain over the northern Midwest as well, upper Midwest. That area in yellow there is 2 inches of rain or more were parts of the Dakotas. I think it fell pretty much where I expected last week. I was saying the upper Midwest and then parts of Oklahoma into Texas worked out pretty good. So if we look at the percent of normal rainfall, those areas I mentioned received the rainfall above normal in blues and purple. Mentioned the southeast U.S. would be very dry. You can see a lot of red in that area. And the Ohio Valley quite dry as well. Okay, now we're getting into that time of year. I'm going to be talking a whole lot about oscillations and how they're impacting our precipitation patterns. Wanted to point out here, this is the North Atlantic Oscillation, NAO. And what you can see here, it's below this line, so it's really dipped quite a bit actually, and that's a negative NAO. The red lines are the forecast, and you see it's going to stay negative until the end of the month and then perhaps get back to neutral. So right now we're under this influence of this imbalance here, atmospheric pressure imbalance, and that's tending to do is give us a more highly amplified flow. It's going to give us very distinct areas of cooler weather and warmer area and overall dry weather. So these are the steering winds, and this is that NAO type pattern where we have this dip. The cold air is now pushing down to the south, centered over the Great Lakes states into the Ohio Valley, but also sort of pushing off towards the northeast and into the upper Midwest. We have a strong wind pattern with this. There's some rain being associated with the transition, but once this gets established, it looks like a fairly quiet pattern. Matter of fact, this is the mean flow from the 24th of October through the 28th. And one of the ways you can tell that the flow is amplified by looking at these dashes. These are anomalies of pressure, and that's saying that red is saying that this is unusually high pressure, and that means the jet stream is unusually far to the north. These areas in blue are anomalies, negative anomalies of pressure, saying the jet stream is dipping down to the south. So here's the rainfall. Even though there's going to be a lot of action as far as temperatures with cooler air pushing into the region, for the next 7 days, it looks like precipitation is going to be fairly light over most of the nation. I think the only areas really to watch for significant or interesting precipitation are parts of the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes, Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, maybe northern Michigan. That could be in the form or will be in the form of snow or mixed precipitation. This is the snowfall probabilities, the highest amounts. And then we still have some very high dew points along the coast, some tropical moisture. This is not a tropical system, just some tropical moisture, and that could brush right along the immediate Gulf Coast from Louisiana up through the Alabama coastal region up into northwest parts of Florida. Now, I looked a little bit further out. I've been doing this lately. This is through pretty much the end of the month, and it really looks like a very dry pattern over the western half of the nation with no rain whatsoever. And then green is that lighter precipitation, a half inch or so, maybe some pockets of heavier amounts. I don't get too excited till we get into that area of yellow, and you can see that there's really not a whole lot. The southeast generally remains quiet. Blue is very light precipitation, so you can see over the southeast U.S., North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina into Georgia, very quiet. And then this is that heavy rain along the immediate coast. This is the rain early this week. But after that, it looks just very quiet. So pretty quiet pattern as we go into the middle part of fall here. Not a whole lot of action. As far as threats go, threats assessment, brown are the unusually dry soils. I did want to point out heavy rain potential, 1021 along that coast. The heavy precipitation as far as rain and snow. This is primarily snow or a mix. And then just sort of pointing out that some parts of the country, it will be unusually cool as compared to normal. So the takeaway points as we get into the latter part of October, looks like a negative NAO is dominating with a highly amplified flow, a high ridge of high pressure, highly amplified in the western U.S., and a dip in the jet stream well to the south in the eastern U.S. And even though temperatures will be fall-like over parts of the region, it looks like overall this is a quiet pattern as far as precipitation, and it does look like it's going to last through the rest of the month. Now, I'm working on that winter outlook. I hope to get it out this week. And if you ever have any questions, you can reach me at john@bluewateroutlook.com. Have a nice week.